Um, British skating legends, another legend. So you may have guessed from some of the dialogue that I'm with a guy who made his mark in the mid and late 70s and very early 80s, and a guy called John Downing. Now, I mean, for those of you around in the mid 70s and early 80s, you probably wouldn't recognise him without his long flowing blonde hair. He's got a bit less hair now, but he's still as sharp as a razor. But tell me, John, for the record, so when and where were you born?
I was born in Rowley Regis on the 16th of December 1962.
Rowley Regis, Black Country.
Yeah, and I was predominantly brought up there, until a lot later on in life when I moved away. But yeah, that's where I was brought up.
So, because this is a British Skating Legends chat, how did you get into skating in general, just in general?
There was a skating session at Oldbury Sports Centre, every Friday and Saturday, and it was Mr Hughes who used to do it, and he used to hire this hall, and a couple of kids from the area where I lived, Mark Davis was one of them, he used to skate as well, and Matthew, they used to go there, and they said, "Come on, John, it's great fun." So I went, and they was right, it was great fun. I couldn't stand up, I kept crashing into the wall, falling over, it was the best thing that ever happened.
How old have you been?
I was 13. I was 13 at the time.
And was Mark a bit older than you, Mark Davis, or a bit younger?
No, Mark was younger than me.
Was he?
Yeah, he was a year younger. And his brother, Matthew, he was 2 years younger. But yeah, they encouraged me to go. And
well, how did you know them?
They lived next door one to me.
Oh,
they lived
okay.
in my street.
Oh, right.
And they went down there, like I said, and I eventually followed. And it was fun, and then it progressed then onto the speed sessions where Pat and Leo used to come down, and I just went from normally rolling around to the speed stuff.
So when Pat and Leo rocked up, so I take it, was it a general session, or
yes.
it was just they used to just come along for the general sessions? Because I suppose when they used to live in Great Bar, I suppose it weren't that far away.
Not really, no. Junction 2, innit?
Yeah.
They would get on at Junction 8.
Yeah, but
and then get off at Junction 2, but it was the M5, not the M6. It wasn't that far down the motorway, to be honest. It was only up the Wolverhampton Road.
So, can you remember how you met the Eastons? What was the crack there then? How did that come about?
Sorry, John.
You just know they used to turn up.
Yeah, they just turned up, and they used to do this speed session on a Saturday, which was, I think it was 4 till 5, and then the general session was 5 till 7. So we used to have an hour before, and we used to just bomb round. And the McGraths was part of that enclave at the time. Mark McGrath, Jerry McGrath, Kevin McGrath, they were all there.
Yeah, there was a lot of McGraths.
There was a big family.
Yeah, yeah.
And to be honest, most of them did skate.
Yeah.
But it was Jerry, Mark, and Kevin who really went down the speed route.
Yeah, yeah. I remember Graham. But
Graham McGrath,
but he did a couple.
David as well.
And Gary.
And Paul.
And Gary, was a young Gary.
Mm-hmm.
But, so did you know the McGraths at that time,
No,
or was it only just through the skating?
It was just through skating, because they lived in Langley, where I was living on Lion Farm, which is a council estate, but they lived just up the road. But because of, that's how we all got together and we all learned from each other. And
did you ever skate before that, or was it just, did you ever strapped a pair of skates on?
Probably in the street, the old metal ones that you used to tie to your feet. Yeah, well, I wasn't very good.
Now, earlier on, we were talking about, well, before we go into that, so how long was it, do you reckon, before you, so if you were 13, how long before you started racing?
I was 14 when I had my first race.
Right.
Like I said to you, I think it was at Tatum Park.
Yeah.
I think it was in 1976.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Yeah.
It was a scorching hot day. Ridiculous. And I managed to get fourth. I was quite disappointed, but I was quite pleased, to be fair, because I think I had some more dodgy skates as well.
You're right. I think it was 1976. I said it was at Mallory Park. It wasn't Mallory Park. It was Tatum Park.
Mallory Park.
It was no. You're right. It was Tatum Park. Yeah, that's right.
Race.
It was your first race. It was the 26th of June, 1976. It was the Ron Hawkes Trophy, and it was an 800 metre handicap, and you're right, you were second in your heat off 30 metres, and you come fourth in the final.
There you go.
Yeah, I made a note of it earlier. Yeah, but it was Tatum Park.
Yeah.
And to think, so we'd only been racing on Tatum Park for 2 years at that point, and we still use it now. They just had the British Championships on Tatum Park.
Really?
Yeah. So here we are in like really nearly 50 years,
Bloody hell.
and we're still using it.
Aye.
So it weren't long before you started winning though. So you come fourth. Can you remember? I mean, what do you remember about that first race? Was you a bit daunted by it, or how did it? You know, you were going all the way to London to race. You're in a Birmingham shirt. Hey, talk me through that a little bit if you can. Do you remember anything?
To be honest, John, I was quite oblivious to it all. I think it all went over my head. It was just like, oh, okay, it's a race, let's have a go, let's see what we can do. And that was it. I never ever put myself under any pressure for anything. I just go out and enjoy your little self.
How did you get down to Tatum Park in them days?
It
was a lot of
Leo.
it.
It was Pat and Leo. We used to go a lot of the time in Pat's Mini. She used to have an 850 Mini, you know, 850cc Mini, and bomb down to...
I remember his Capri.
One.
Yeah.
Yeah, Leo's Capri, he had that a bit later. Yeah, but we used to go down, sometimes in Leo's car.
Yeah.
That was it, I think.
Yeah, because there was a lot of you. There
was McGroughs,
Yeah.
myself,
Yeah.
Mark Davis, Matthew, Andrew Perry as well.
Yeah.
He was part of our club at that particular time as well. So there's quite a few of us. I don't know how we used to get there. I do vividly remember Pat's Mini. It was very claustrophobic, to say the least, but it was fun. It was fun.
So your first win, I should have said earlier, was your first gold medal was the 1500 metre junior boys at Mallory Park. That
Yes.
was your first win.
Yeah.
So tell me about Mallory Park. Did you use the whole circuit, or was it up and down, or what can you remember?
I think, you know, Mallory Park, they had the hill.
That's right.
Well, we didn't go up the hill. The men went up the hill and come back down. But we went round just the flat part, and I think it was pretty much one circuit, and that was it. And I got lucky that day.
Yeah, 50. Yeah, because it was a mile. That's right, because that actually makes sense, because Mallory Park on the small circuit was a mile.
Was it?
It was a mile, and it was a mile and a third if you went up the hill and down.
Yes.
So and it was a 1500 metres, which is a metric mile, so that makes sense, one lap. So did you want your tea or anything, by the way? Did you copy? You all right? You all right?
I'll be all right for
You
it.
sure? All right, yeah. Let us know.
You're obviously going to edit this.
No, it's fine. Don't worry about that.
That's all right.
People don't mean you stop your tea. Who were your rivals then as a junior?
Barry Webb.
He's sadly no longer with us, you know, Barry.
Really?
Yeah, a
Oh,
few
dear.
years ago. Yeah, he passed away. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Jerry McGrath,
Yeah.
of course.
Yeah.
At that particular time, there was only Jerry and Barry who was kind of vying.
Ian Ray. Porter.
Was Ian Ray around at that time though? I remember
Right.
Ian Ray coming later.
Yeah. Okay.
And another lad from London, McAvoy.
Lee McAvoy.
Lee
Yeah.
McAvoy.
Yeah.
I remember him as well. But I think he come later. Or they were there, but
Yeah.
they wasn't showing.
Certainly Barry was. Yeah,
Barry
yeah.
was very, very good.
Yeah. We used to keep. I think he lived over in Spain, and then I read he passed away a couple of years back now. So tell me about your rivalry with. Was it a rivalry with Jerry? Was you working for each other, or did you race each other?
Initially, when we was juniors, it was just racing, you know. And I always felt bad, actually, to be honest, you know, because Jerry was 100% committed, you know, and he wore his heart on his sleeve, and you know he would express himself. And to be fair, he's still the same.
He ain't
You know,
changed,
bless him. I love Jerry. He's a great guy, but there was a rivalry, but there wasn't, because we was club mates. And a lot of the time in training, he used to do me all the while, you know. But then we come to a race once or twice, and I would nick it, and I would always feel bad about that, to be honest. But hey, you know.
not that bad, obviously. So it's a quick break there. I did promise John that he could go and grab his cup of coffee, which he's done now. So you were just saying that like you felt bad because you used to nick the races off Jerry.
Sometimes.
Some of them.
Jerry had his own victories as well.
Yeah.
You know, but I kind of, because I always felt Jerry was more deserving. than me, but hey, it is what it is, I suppose, and it's one of those things.
Well, your first junior championship medal, as according to the records I've got, was in a 500 metres at Granby Halls. Actually, it was the 8th of May 1977. So that was your first medal. Jerry won it, and you were second in the 400 metres. Do you remember? It was a close finish apparently between you, Pepper. Do you remember that first? No. Because it was
Sorry.
no. Like I said, well, it's a long time ago, but that was your first medal. But your first junior championship came a couple of months later in the 1,000 metres on Southampton, and you won the 1,000 metres. But tell me about the Southampton circuit, because you shone a bit on there, I think.
Yeah, I think it's because I could just spread my legs and just power away, and I think I was quite strong as a young lad, and I think that was where I had the advantage, especially on a bigger circuit. On the smaller circuits, Jerry would eat me alive. Moreover, I would...
On the tracks, you mean? On the little tracks?
Yeah, on the smaller circuit. Like Ali Pally, or Herne Bay, South Shields, even Granby Halls. And we used to train at Granby Halls quite often. We used to go with the Mercia team, because they would hire it out, and then we would turn up as well and go, and we would train with them. I think that helped us a great deal, especially training with John Fry and John Mullane, because them boys they was at the top of their game at that particular time.
Yeah, certainly.
And we just purely benefited
in the 70s over,
all of us did, especially us Birmingham boys.
And what do you remember of Granby Halls? Because that doesn't exist anymore. That's gone as well. No, that's been knocked down, and I think it's a car park now. But the Granby Halls has gone. But because it was the exhibition hall, wasn't it?
Yes, because there was a skating rink next door.
That's right.
But I think I only ever went in there once to have a look. I think there was a session on, but we wasn't allowed to go because we was in the other one. But it was like a tarmac flooring. It was quite a decent venue, to be fair.
It was quite smooth.
Yeah,
because I remember. I personally don't remember ever skating on it. If I did, I can't. I must have been very young. But I actually remember that. I remember the venue because I used to come in through a side door, and I used to have to get a little door on the end. And I can even remember where people used to sit around the track, believe it or not. But Granby Halls, and it used to have that smell of elephants. I always think that had the circus on.
Of course, I can endorse that, John.
But so a year later, from 77, you win your first junior title, and then you in 78 you win both.
Yeah.
And I think Jerry had gone senior.
Yes, he had at that time. Yeah. So that's why I got so lucky, to be fair, because I think Jerry may have had something to say about me winning, them events. Yeah. Because Jerry was a great skater. There was no doubt about it.
Yeah.
He was very good and very committed. It's almost like a eulogy to Jerry, this, isn't it?
No. I tell you, just out of interest. So when I spoke to Leo some time back, I think, if my memory serves me right, that Leo said that he felt that Mark was the better skater.
Out the two, Jerry and Mark.
Yeah.
Possibly, but Mark was a bit irrational sometimes.
Right.
He would do some crazy things. Instead of focusing on what he could do, he would be more interested in trying to show other people possibly what he was all about, instead of let's get the job done, just get the job done. We need to win, poof. Mark, because I did hear about the one time where there was a British Championship in a relay, and the Birmingham boys was way out ahead of Mercia, and I think Mark was on the last leg, and he waited for your dad to come along, and he thought he could beat him because he wanted to beat him on the line. Now, if Mark had just ploughed on, they would have won it quite easily, and then British Championship relay for him, no problem.
I think you were showboating a bit.
Mark had to wait, and then your dad went boom, and Mark was like, oh, too late. Jerry was very upset about that, let me tell you. They still talk about it to this day.
Really?
Yeah, they do. But I wasn't there at the time.
Well, in 78 you win your both junior titles, so that's 3 titles now to your name. And your last junior race was in the November 78, because you a month on from that you're going to turn 16, and in them days we turned senior
On
on
your
your
16th
16th
birthday,
birthday. And your last ever junior race you won on Palm Court. Now, I don't remember Palm Court much. And funny enough, I was talking to Gwen Marriott the other couple of weeks back about Palm Court, and I can't read a picture. But do you remember Palm Court much? At the Palace, Alexandra Palace.
Yeah. It wasn't a track that suited me personally.
My dad said that. He said he hated it. Yeah. Was it?
Very, very small. I preferred the bigger tracks where I could open my legs and power on. You know, them was more my forte really.
Yeah.
You know, but
Yeah.
I was quite fortunate that most of these championships were on
big tracks.
bigger venues where you know I managed to get lucky.
And well, Palm Court, I suppose at that time as well, you know, because you were so dominant as a junior, although Palm Court was small, it's probably the fact that, you know, you were such a dominant junior that it didn't really matter the circuit. I suppose it weren't until you come to, you know, into the senior ranks, and then, you know, you're back onto the tracks and the big tracks and the small tracks. So you turn senior in December 78. And so your first senior race, and whether you remember this or not, was in the February 79 at Granby Halls. And it was a 5k, and you finished 8th.
I'm surprised I finished it all, John.
Really?
Yeah, I think, I don't know, I think maybe I had a blister and it used to kill. But that surprises me. But my first ever senior race, 8th, I'll take that.
Yeah.
Decent.
Yeah, well, you was up against I suppose you'd be up against people like Mickey and Tommy Bartlett, the old man Mulaney. You know, so back in them days.
Men around at the time.
Yeah, there was. Yeah, you think about Pete Howe, like, you know, Tony Rhodes, Feetham. Yeah, you know, all the. I mean, there was a big glut of really strong senior men at that particular time. I mean, and well, it's telling if you think about it, because, like, you know, Fry, Mullane, McGeough, Feetham, all around 78, 79, were all European champions, and, you know, Jerry would have been in the mix as well at that time as well. So, so what was training like then? So how often did you train? How intense was it? What was your... Talk me through some training sessions.
We used to train Tuesdays, Thursdays, Fridays. We used to go skating down in the session, Saturday, and then generally there was races on Sunday. You know, so that was our training routine. We used to train at where my school. They had a big, massive car park, and it was an asphalt kind of floor. It wasn't great, but it wasn't bad.
Where was this? Over in Albury, was it?
Yeah, off Throne Road in Raleigh Regis, St Michael's School.
Okay.
It's gone now.
Yeah.
It's been demolished now in housing estate, so we ain't skating there no more. But yeah, that's where we used to skate, and it was great. But I was always skating with Leo. Would be skating, Kevin McGrath, who was a couple of years older than us, like Jerry, you know, and they was always trying hard, and Mark as well. Mark was also part of that enclave. You know, I used to enjoy the training, I really did, and I used to always do my share, and I think that's what helped me massively. We'd also go training with the Mercia boys, maybe on the Tuesdays or the Thursdays, or whenever them like...
At Granby Halls?
Yeah, or wherever, because they invited us to the M42.
Yeah,
remember that?
before it be opened, near Kozel.
You used to get chased off there by the people.
Yeah.
And your dad and Mulaney would always, you know, we've had permission to do this, it's okay. But then you get the wise guy, the security guy, saying, oh, you've got to move on, mate, you've got to move on. They never talk like that, but...
But they do. But yeah, I remember the M42, quite big roads. 2.5 mile lap that was.
Was it really?
Yeah, up and down.
To be fair, your dad in his club would always invite us. You know, there was never any bad feeling about that. I always felt that they wanted us to achieve, because they wanted to progress the skating game. You know, so I always took that in high esteem, to be fair, and always respected them for that.
So it was quite hard training then. So I mean, you was with some of the country's elite at the time, Mullane and the old
and as a 16-year-old,
you
know, you're pushing yourself ridiculously hard. But like I said, I think that helped me tremendously.
And how was Leo still skating at the time?
He was, but he wasn't.
Well, yeah.
You know, I mean,
he could
Leo
put his
would
skates
be
on.
In his late 40s, maybe early 50s at that time.
God, younger than me. But yeah, I know. But yeah.
You know, and when he used to have a go. I mean, I remember him skating in one of our relays.
I remember. I know he told me about that, and I look back through the programs. Yeah.
When he, bless him.
You
But
give it a
again, Pat and Leo they was there to try and encourage youngsters into the sport, because they love that sport.
They did. I mean, to be fair, they lived for it, and there's they did. I know when their house was just rammed with skating stuff, and Pat used to do all the record stuff, and she'd make copious amounts of notes. So, about everything, and if anything weren't right, or somebody said, oh, so and so won that on that day, she could, no, they didn't. She was really a stickler for it. I suppose there's a bit of that side to me in effect. To be fair,
well, it's data, isn't it?
It is, yeah. She was like, long before word processors and computers, and she just everything was by hand. And when she passed away, sadly, and Leo is that Leo's niece gave me reams and reams of notes and stuff. And
I'm glad it went to a good cause.
Yeah, no, I've just tried to collate it and put it all.
That stuff.
So I mean, I've got a lot of it. To be fair, a lot of magazines and stuff. So it's all gone to a good home.
Good.
So you trained on Albury on the school. You trained on Granby Halls. You trained on the M42. Was it only skating that you did?
No. When you was just talking, and I just thought, oh, hang on a bit. I used to go out on my bike.
Yeah.
I used to run.
Okay.
I used to have a pipe around when I was a kid, and I used to go out on my bike. And then when I turned 16, I used to go for a run. I used to take my dog for a run with me. I used to run over by the fields and round and God knows where and come back. I used to do a lot of training. I used to do a lot of cycling as well. Because initially when I first started work, I didn't have a car. I was on my bike. And I remember cycling from where I lived in Lion Farm to Wednesbury.
How far is that?
Probably about 8 to 10 miles.
Yeah.
Do a day's graft and then cycle home.
So a 20-mile round trip.
And there was a few nasty climbs as well.
Yeah.
But hey, I used to love it. It was great.
Yeah.
But I think all them things helped. But it was I wanted to do them things, but I did want to achieve. I just wanted to be good.
Yeah, well, and you was, to be fair.
Not bad.
Yeah, but no. Interesting. Do you back in the day? Did you perceive yourself to be good? Did it sort of register with you that
I just felt I was lucky.
Really?
Yeah, I do.
Well, your first senior win was a 1500 metre handicap on Granby Halls. You won. Johnny Toy was second, and the old man was third. So,
I think I vaguely remember that.
Yeah, and that was your first senior win. It was a handicap, but it was as Granby Halls, but it was a first senior win. But you can't really remember. You don't know how you felt about that. So I suppose you just one of them that came and went. But.
Yeah. I never ever thought. I never thought I was any good, even though I must have been something decent.
Yeah.
But I always thought there was always people better, and I just thought, I got lucky there, got lucky there. But I was always happy with that luck, John. To be honest, that's how I take it.
Well, not long after that. So again, 1979, right? So the date is the 29th of July, right? 1979. You're 16 years of age. You're still 6 months off being 17. You're 16 years of age, and you win your first British title, senior British title.
Well, it was a care share.
It was a care
share bag.
10k.
Yeah.
Southampton.
Yeah.
And you did it with McGeough.
Yeah. Unbelievable. I couldn't believe it.
Talk me through that race.
Oh, John. All I know is that the last lap, I was just a man of the last 100 metres, possibly 150 metres, and I was in the shake-up, and I just went for it, and it just so happened that it was me and Mick McGeough on the line.
Did you think he'd won it?
I don't know. If they had photo, what they call them,
photo
finishes.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Really, you couldn't tell.
Idea.
You couldn't tell, but
not really. No. I mean, I think I was here and Mickey was there, so there's a bit of a gap between the two of us.
Yeah.
But it was one of them where you stick your toe out and hope for the best.
So when you went across the line, you had no idea whether you'd won or not?
No.
Did it feel like a long time before they announced the winner? Or
Completely oblivious to his all, John. I have
Really?
no idea.
It's funny, isn't it? Because I would have only have been 12, just 12 years of age, and yet I can remember it.
I remember you
the race.
skating around with us.
I remember the race.
Intervals.
But I remember I have a vague recollection that my dad didn't race it. Now I don't know if he didn't.
Possibly.
I don't know if he didn't. He had pulled a muscle, and he didn't race. There's something about it that says he didn't race a 10k. I mean, I'm not saying he would have won. I'm just saying he didn't.
He probably would
no,
have,
I don't know. You know, I mean, to be fair, the 10k was always deemed to be Mick's trophy, Mick McGough's trophy.
Yeah.
You know,
Your dad was more 5 or
he was a
500.
He was, but the old 5 mile trophy as it was became the 8 days and then 10,000 metres, the English Sports Cup, which is the photo that we've seen. But yeah, I mean, it was Mick and McGeough. You think it's no small feat really when you think even to dead heat with Mick and McGeough. Mick and McGeough was the trophy pretty much belonged to him through the 70s. He was a reigning 10,000 metre European champion. A couple of weeks later, he was going to go and retain his title. Do you know? I mean, like to be even on the podium with Mickey McGeough in a 10k is no mean feat. I mean, but do you think it registered at the time?
I really don't think it did, John. I've just thought, wow.
Because you're 16, yeah.
Yeah, I was a kid, you know, still don't know anything now to be fair, but yeah, I was just a young lad. And I just think, wow, how did that happen? And I'm deleted. I won. So bloody hell, amazing. So yeah, I was kind of shocked and stunned to be fair.
Can you remember like Pat and Leo's sort of responses and stuff like that in the team and
No,
it's just
no, it was all over my head, mate. It was all, whoa, what's just happened? Yeah, it was a bit of a mystery to me, to be fair. I just took my foot out and managed to, and I don't know how the judges decided it was a dead heat. I don't know how they couldn't split us, but they didn't. So we had to share it.
Well, that year, so as I said a couple of weeks later, like you're obviously making a massive impression on the British skating scene. You're an excellent junior. You've turned senior. You've won a handicap. You're now senior British champion at 16 and a half. And the European Championships are in Zandvoort. And I remember my dad. I don't know who else, but my dad used to go over to Zandvoort every other weekend to go and train on the track.
Yeah, we used to go as well.
Yeah.
Well, we used to go quite a lot.
Yeah.
You know,
in preparation for it.
Yeah. We just went along for the ride really, because I mean your dad, he was preparing because hadn't they done something in France just prior to that?
They'd been over that
in the Europeans the year before.
So they'd won in France on La Roche.
That was right. Yeah.
So Mickey, Dad, and Mulaney had won in La Roche in '78. And then they come to Zandvoort 12 months later, and but Zandvoort, because it was in them days, it was a smooth asphalt track,
yes,
a bit like Taunton Park in terms of the track. And I know that every week and every other weekend, Dad used to, like he'd be on the ferry, he'd be over into Zandvoort, he'd be going, I'm going over to Zandvoort, and they'd go over to Zandvoort and train on the track and sort the wheels out and whatever. And it was really the start of urethane wheels and the green blazers, the ballet blazers. But the point I'm getting to is the fact that the team selected. So I think it was Dad, Mullane, McGeough, Feetham, and Jerry.
Yeah, I think Jerry went that year.
Yeah, and because I think Jerry medalled on the track. But you were overlooked for that. I mean, do you think it's because of your age or
Possibly.
what?
I didn't mind, to be fair, John, because there was, I mean, them guys you said, Mickey, John, who'd already won, they needed to have that opportunity to defend their titles. So I would have been disappointed had they have left one of those out to put me in. I was going to have my time at some point, at this point in time. I was going to have my championships later on when I was 17, 18, 19, 20 or whatever, all things being equal. So I didn't begrudge them that. I love the experience of going there.
But Mark McGrath was named reserve for that team.
Was he really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And Mark travelled as a reserve. And yet Mark never won a British title. And is Mark the same age as you? Or
No, I think I'm a year or maybe 18 months older than Mark.
so he would have only been, so he would have been even younger. But he was a reserve for 79. So, it was one of them things where I always wondered why you got overlooked in favour of Mark in them days. Okay.
I don't know. I don't mind, John.
No, I didn't know if you knew something that I didn't, but it just seemed a strange thing. But anyway.
I do think sometimes the selection process was a little bit bizarre. But hey, that wasn't down to me. That was down to the selectors. And they was picked by whoever they were picked by. And they would decide what they decided in their wisdom. But hey.
Well, 1980.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a real key year for you. This is what I think is your breakthrough year. I mean, so British Championships, you win the 400 metre time trial. You're 2 seconds faster than the next guy.
Was that?
Oh, was that 80 or 80? I could be 81.
I think that was 81.
Oh, so you win the 500.
Sorry, yeah.
So yeah, you do win the 500. You're absolutely right. So you win the 500. You do win the 500 metres time trial. Sorry. Yeah. Well, you're still a second faster than the next guy. Okay, which happened to be the old man. And that was so on Southampton. But you win the 500 metre time trial on Southampton, right? And you also win the 20k.
I know. How bizarre.
So you win the shortest and the longest in 1980. So now you're 17. Did you? I mean, I know you said that at 16 it sort of passed you by. You won the 10k, Mickey. And it's like, wow, but hey, I'm still a kid. I'm, probably still doing your exams. I don't know. But at 7, did you feel at that point another 2 titles that you'd arrived somehow?
No, because at that time, people like your dad were icons to me. There weren't that many. And he's like, oh, I've just won 1. Oh, I've just picked up another 2, But, I mean, I've got to win before I get to their status. That was where I wanted to be, at that level. I mean, I don't know how many British Championships your dad won. Maybe 30, 40.
No, I mean that many. You won 18, I think it is.
How many?
18.
18.
Something like that.
You see, that's the pinnacle I needed to get to. So if I've just won 1 or 2, so yeah, fair play, mate. You've won a couple, but you get legendary status when you win as many as these people. And Mickey McGeough as well. I don't know how many Mickey won. He probably won a.
He won 1 less than the old man.
Did you really?
So it's either I can't remember. The old man's got 19, he's got 18. The old man's got 18, he's got 17. Whichever way around it is. Individual titles, but they were
that's pretty impressive.
Yeah. Oh well, there's more races these days. But if I tell you that the bloke who's won the most has now won 54.
Wow.
But yeah, that was So and his last one was 8 years ago. So. Anyway, but there's a lot more to win. In them days, there was not, there was a few races, but now they have indoor championships and outdoor championships, marathons.
Yeah.
But you was also Northern and Midland Counties champion.
I know.
And you won the relay.
I know.
So you didn't do too bad in 80.
No. Not at all. And then that year as well, I got selected for the Europeans.
Oh well, I'm going to come to that.
Okay,
I'm going to come to that. No. We're not far off that, but. In terms of winning them sort of trophies, though, Leo, who was your coach, mentor, I don't know, would you call him a mentor? He'd won these trophies as well, 20, 30 years earlier. Did that sort of register?
The thing that registered with me with Leo was his world title.
Yeah.
That was the one thing with Leo. Everything else seemed to pale into, just pale into insignificance, because the world title that was the level that everybody needed to achieve. I mean, even your dad, that was the one thing that your dad wanted to get, and I get that. That was the one thing I wanted. So everything under that. So I was really unaware of what Leo would want in respect of British titles. He never won a European either, did he, Leo?
No, it was so when he won his world title, it was classed as a world and European. In '63, But
that was the thing. That, there was only a few people.
Danny Kelly and John Foley, the only two guys who won world titles.
So that was an elite group, But yeah, I was. Now what? Leo, Pat was more. Pat favoured me more. Leo kind of favoured Jerry more. You know, he liked me obviously, but Leo did. But I think Jerry was more his favourite. But that's fair enough. I mean, I don't mind.
That's interesting,
But
but yeah.
he still encouraged all of us.
Yeah.
You know, but I think he had a close relationship with Jerry because they both liked cars.
Okay.
And I wasn't really a petrol head like that. So, you know, they had that in common as well. But yeah.
Okay. So, in June then of 1980, so you're selected to race for Britain in Spoleto
Yeah,
first.
yes.
What was it like getting the call up? Was you expecting it?
I'm glad you said that because I think you were just reading my mind. Because I think I expected to at least get a shot because of what I've done in the past. You know, picked up a couple of British titles. I'm 17 years of age. To all intents and purposes, it looks like I'm the future, or people like me are the future. So why not blood them and let them have a go? And I watch football now, and I sometimes think some of these kids, you know, give them a go. Don't keep them on the bench. Let them have a go. See what they can do. If they do it, great. If they don't, well, they've got plenty of time. So yeah, I think in some respects I did expect to get the call, even though it was a bit of a shocker. Because I remember having a letter. It's like, oh, Mum, bloody hell, look at that. I've been selected to represent Great Britain at the European Championships.
How did your parents react to all that?
Well, my mum, my dad had he'd done one, you know.
Yeah.
So it was just my mum. She was just stoked, you know, because her little boy is doing all right. But my mum, she had her own little agenda to get on with, being a mother and whatnot. Whatever I decided I wanted to do was fine. You go and enjoy yourself, Johnny.
Did she come to your races at all? Did she ever see
She
you
saw me
race?
once at Oldby Sports Centre. They built an outdoor track. I think I was junior still at the time because I actually won, and I wouldn't normally win on a short track, you know. So if I'd have been a senior, I would definitely have got hammered. But yeah, she saw me once. She didn't ever see me any other time.
And have you got brothers and sisters?
I have got a brother. He won't bother about me either. But I was always.
Is he older or younger?
Yeah, he's older than me.
Have you got no interest in skating?
Nah, he's a Villa fan.
Nothing wrong with that. Turns out a good lad. So Spoleto, you get selected for Spoleto.
Yeah.
And can you remember much about like the whole trip and what
It was fantastic. I enjoyed the way the senior men, Mick McGeough, your dad. I can't remember if Featon was in the team. I think Jerry was in the team at the time as well. I love the way they kind of put their arm around me and, you know, and tried to nurse me. Mulaney was there and all. The way they tried to encourage me into it all, I liked that. I enjoyed that. That was good.
Well, I mean, Spoleto it's a bank track.
Yeah.
Quite slippery. It's not
Yes.
it's not a power track as what I'd call it.
No.
And you're second in the 5,000 metres.
Yeah, purely by default, mate.
Well, you're 17 years of age and you get a European silver medal. So, default or otherwise, you're in it to win it. But talk me through that then.
Well, what it was, obviously the Italians in Italy are always going to be a formidable force, yeah? And the Italians have got the race, so they're 4 men at the front, no problem. I'm in the 5,000 and Johnny Mullane said to me, he says, crash them, just crash into them, go drop down the banking, come up, smack into them, upset their and break them up. So the lap up, they come round, drop down, ended up in exactly the same place as where I left, going into the bend. It's like, oh yeah, it didn't work out very well. So Mulaney did it. Oh please, he just totaled a lot of them. He hit the second guy. Yeah. Now, bear in mind, we had the 4 Italians, and I think it was me, then John Mullane, and then as Mulaney come out and crashed into the second, third and fourth guy, I managed to escape. The one Italian who was at the front got away. I'm then behind him, chasing him, this massive gap there. I was never ever going to catch him. And I think there was a lap or 2 or 3 to go. I just got lucky. There was carnage on the track. The Italian fans, oh my days, they were throwing cushions at us and everything. They wasn't impressed, not in the slightest. But yeah, that was fantastic. But it was, like I said, it was. You know,
did that register? But did that register as well? I mean, like, you know, your first outing as in a GB shirt, you're now second in Europe at 17. Did that sort of strike any chord? Did you remember? Do you remember standing on the rostrum?
I do, and I felt like I shouldn't be here. You know, I don't deserve this. I wasn't the second fastest. If I'd have been the second fastest genuinely on the track that day, or got the medal by proper means, if you like, I may have been happier. But no, that never ever registered for me at all, ever. Second in the year, because I don't think I deserved it. But hey, there you go. I've still got the medal as well.
Well, yeah, I'd hope so.
I have, yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So you also get second in the relay.
Oh, did we? Was it a
Yeah.
4-man or a 2-man?
I think in 80 it would have been a four-man relay.
Yeah, probably down to the other guys, to be fair.
But yeah,
I was
so
just filling in the gaps. Because like you said, John, I wasn't that exciting on them kind of tracks, slippy,
yeah.
where I couldn't just lay down power, you know. So I was just an all-star run, I think. I just happened to be in a good team. And I think I got the... I enjoyed that medal more because of the lads that was in the team with me. I think, if my memory serves me right, it was John, your dad, and Mickey and me.
It could have been, because I know that what in the race or the relay.
In the relay.
Oh, in the relay, yeah.
Yeah, I think that was the four of us.
Yeah, it sounds.
I could be wrong. Jerry may have been in, or I don't know.
I think you're right. I think you're right.
But yeah, I think that was the way it was.
I know in the 5K, Mullane, you say he crashed the pack. He got disqualified. And
Yeah, he did.
I think Mick also got disqualified as well.
Probably
So,
tripped
but-
the
so-
Italians up to help us get away.
Do you remember the track at Spoleto and the feeling of it? Because we hadn't got bank tracks. Was that how did you,
I think it was a 155 track, that
a
was.
small track?
Yeah, I think it was. Whereas the majority of them were 200
That's right.
metres.
Yeah.
I think this was a 155. And the smaller the track, the worse I was, to be fair.
Yeah.
You know, because we hadn't got that facility in the UK. You know, and that was something that was the reason why I quit, to be fair.
Oh, well, we'll come on to that a bit
Yeah,
in a minute.
you can do.
So, Henry Crystal was the manager.
Possibly. Yeah, I think you're right. I think he was. That's right, because he was the manager at Southampton as well, which was the same year.
Southampton,
Was the road.
I don't think he was manager. I think it was Cyril Cooper and Leo together.
Well, Cyril was
And Cyril's the manager in New Zealand,
Yeah,
which
he
we're
was.
going to. Well, we'll come to New Zealand in a minute. Let's talk
Might have
Southampton.
been Leo, actually, at Southampton.
I'm sure Leo. Yeah, I'm sure Leo was at Southampton, but let's talk Southampton.
Okay.
So, because that's a big old circuit,
Yeah.
and it is your favourite circuit, or one of your favourite circuits, and you know, the powerhouse. And this ain't aimed at you, obviously, but the whole British team put in what I term a mediocre performance at Southampton. I
Yeah, we
felt.
did. Considering we was at home,
Yeah.
on home soil,
Yeah,
we got obliterated. I think Danny van der Peer,
yeah,
I think he did some things there.
yeah. You know,
And the Italians,
Yeah.
as always, nightmare.
why do you think that was?
I don't know. I just think they were just better than we were. Was Coxey in the team at the time?
He was, and funny enough, I've got a theory around Southampton, but I just wanted to hear your take on it, because, like I said, when you look at the results, I mean, you think it's a year on, so you've got Dad, Mullane, McGeough, European champions in '78, Dad, McGeough, Feetham, European champions in '79. Jerry wasn't in the team for Southampton.
No.
But you know, you've got yourself. Come to Southampton, yourself, who was, you know, over a big 480 metre track like Southampton, you know, was destroying the opposition in terms of like times for your 500s. Coxey was phenomenally strong.
Yeah.
You know, the old man still, yeah, it's still around. Mullane not in the team, but McGeough in the team. But it's a no Feetham, but I'm looking, I'm thinking that's still a strong team. You know, McGeough, the old man, you, Coxey. That's a really strong, like, big circuit. And yet, when you look on paper, the only medal the British guys took was in the relay. It's the only medal. There was no other medal taken by the British men other than the relay. And I find that hard to believe on Southampton of all tracks. But you have do you think pressure or what?
No, I'd never ever felt pressure, John, ever, because I never expected to win. I would just go out there and do my thing, and if
so what's your take on it? Why do you think it was such a mediocre performance by the guys?
I just think the other nations were that much stronger. The Belgians were so strong. Danny van der Peer and Dimitri van Kouwenberg, they were beasts, these people were. They were so strong. I mean, Danny van der Peer was what, 15 years old? I think he was about 18, but he was such a big bloke. And Van Kouwenberg, I think he was a little bit older, but they were just pure animals. They were so strong. And that kind of circuit suited them people, just the power. I wasn't powerful enough, I'm afraid. I couldn't get near them. I remember skating the 20,000 in that one, and I got a blister, I had to come out. I think I did the 20,000 in New Zealand as well, same again, blister, come out.
Well, so now, for me, I got vague recollections of this story with Southampton, and that is that 79-80 was the start of urethane wheels.
Yeah.
You know, and up till then they've been either on the tracks, they've been racing on wooden wheels, or and then roads about plastic wheels. And we come to Southampton, and we kept the plastic wheels on, and a lot of the nations put urethane on, especially like the Italians, and I think it might have been lip balms or whatever, but and we persevered with plastic, believing it to be.
Wasn't we using Mick McGeugh's?
I think it was the Mac ones. I think, yeah. I think so. But I think for some reason, I don't know why, but I think I'm only going by stories I've heard and from the old man, is that we persevered with plastic wheels on Southampton because that's what we knew and that's what we tried. But I think it was an opportunity missed, I feel, because in '79 we'd used urethane, because I know Mulaney had been instrumental in getting urethane with the Blazers, because he used to work for Maurice Balkan, and he found these skateboard wheels and went, try these. And I remember the old man and Mulaney, rolling down the hill at Mallory Park, one on plastics, one on urethane, see who rolled further. And they raced in '79. They went abroad and raced on the urethane wheels, and it was such a big secret. They didn't even tell Pat Feet and their own teammate till they were on the ferry, and told me you got to use them. And he laughed and said, "I ain't using these. These are squishy." He says, "You got to use them." And they wiped up internationally. And then of course they went to Ostend and won. Come on, Southampton, I've got a feeling that they went back to plastic. That the British team went back to plastics and missed a trick.
I think you could be right. I was not involved in.
And all that. Yeah.
I would just do as I was told. If they said to me, "Oh, John, try these," I'd have just tried them. Away I'd have gone with it, because these people knew more about this than me. They were more technical minded than I were. So I just went along with whatever they decided that was the best option. They've got experience of winning. I hadn't. I was just a mere boy, trying my best and coming through. I remember having 3 sample sets of wheels from Blazer Belair. I had a red set, the greens, and another set. And I just used to skate on them, and I thought they were pretty rubbish, to be honest. The red ones were so soft. It was great for training wheel, because you would die after 2 laps, So, but I don't know. And I never really did Blazer Belair the feedback that I think they wanted, so they kind of ditched me in the end, which was a shame. But I was young and stupid.
Well, December, you go. So you would have gone out there just after your 18th birthday?
No, I was 18.
Oh, were you 18 when you was out there?
Yeah. Because we went on the 29th of November.
Oh, was it that long?
Came back on the 23rd of December.
Ah, right.
My birthday's on the 16th.
Yeah.
So I was 18 while I was out there.
Yeah.
Which was quite an experience.
Did you celebrate it?
I think so. You was there, wasn't you?
Oh, yeah, but I was 13 years of age. I can't remember your 18th birthday.
You been there, though.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, it was my first time at the World Championships, and I'd flown over there to watch the old man.
Yeah.
But so the Worlds are in New Zealand, right? What memories have you got of that trip?
Oh, loads. It was a fantastic experience. And I remember the first race, Maxwell.
Yeah, Pete Maxwell.
Pete Maxwell, I couldn't remember his first name. For some reason I think Glenn Maxwell, but he's a cricketer.
Yeah, no,
You know?
Pete Maxwell.
Yeah, Pete Maxwell. He was the poster boy, if you like,
Yeah.
of the New Zealand people. First race, World Championship, that was him done. He was quite happy, because that's all he wanted to do. And then that fella, Tom Peterson,
Yeah, he arrived.
Blimey O'Reilly, where did he come from? Nobody had heard of him. It was just the Italians, you know, Cantarella, De Persio, Cucciani, all them people. And then this Tom Peterson fella, who is he? And he's killing everybody to death. Whether it was the wheels or I don't know, but Tom Peterson was
He arrived, didn't
pretty
he?
lethal, yeah. I think, yeah, that's right, because the next year was the Worlds in Zandvoort.
Yeah,
And then he come and done it again, didn't he? He just murdered everybody to bits. In fact, that's
some photos. So yeah, so 1980, yeah, and I mean I've got vivid memories of 1980, and I can picture like things, the hotel, the track, the team, you know, because Denise and Lynn were in the team,
yeah.
and you know, and but you only skated track.
I know, and I didn't do very well either. Again, I did the 20,000. I did the 500, the TT, and apparently, I come seventh.
You come seventh in the 20k, actually.
Did I?
Yeah. So Mick was third. Mick was third, and you were seventh.
Did I finish?
Yes, you finished. Yeah.
I'm sure I pulled out of that.
No, well,
Oh, okay.
not according to my results,
Oh,
but.
well, I'll take yours.
Okay. Well, the thing is, so that was Mick's first ever world medal in when he won in 80 in New Zealand in the 20k. But yeah, so what do you remember of the track in Masterton? So that's gone as well, I think.
I remember wanting to do better, and I didn't really achieve better. Oh, it was a bit of a damp squib for me, that was.
Why do you think that was?
Oh, I don't know, John. Maybe the track was just too fast. Maybe I was overwhelmed by it all. Oh, I don't know.
It's a long way to go, isn't it, New Zealand?
And the track, again, the short circuits didn't suit me particularly well. You know, the bigger circuits maybe. But like you said, I only skated on the track. I was dropped from the road.
Were you disappointed?
Yeah, I was. Because I think I would have possibly have done better.
Because
on the
Beetham
road.
skated road.
Yeah,
They
they
didn't
did
skate track.
fall. Pat did. And it was all down his leg. He's grazed it up and he was scrubbing it with a scrubbing brush to clean it out. And I'm watching him doing it and I'm thinking, you must be out of your mind, mate. That's got to kill. Scrubbing brush, scrubbing his leg to get the muck out.
So did you know before you went you was only going to do the track? So how did that come about, that the selection for track and
I
road?
think because my performance on the track was not great, I think Cyril in his wisdom decided, you know what, I'll go for the more experienced guys and put them on the road and let them have a go. Which is what it is.
But you feel that the road you'd have been more
I think
suited?
I possibly could have performed better on the road. But at the time, it is what it was. You skated. If you were on the track, you were on the track. You were on the road, you were on the road. And you just go out and just do your best and skate the way the way you wanted to or you could do to the best of your ability. Which is what I did do, which unfortunately was not great. But hey, I can take it.
But was you disappointed?
I think so. I think I was, yeah. But it's just one of them things.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like I said, is I didn't know that the team for the road and the track wasn't selected until we actually got to New Zealand. I thought it would all been predetermined, and I must admit I was quite shocked that you didn't skate the road, but you only skated track.
Well, you could only skate 5 men, couldn't you? Was it 5 or 4?
4, I think. 4.
No, in the team, you could only have 5 skaters.
Yeah,
I
4
think in
from
the
5.
Euros
Yeah.
it was 5, so
Yeah.
you'd have allowed 6 skaters. In the Worlds you only allowed 4 on the track, but a team of 5. And probably Cyril was right to go with them guys. You know, the more experience and whatnot. And I had such a poor showing on the track. It probably influenced his decision. Which is fair enough, I mean. I've got no issue with that, Jack.
So you'd done Spoleto and Henry was the manager. You'd done Southampton, I think Leo was the manager, and you'd done New Zealand and Cyril was the manager. So you had 3. Can you remember much of the management at that time and the style and whether how you viewed or how you viewed it, or
I don't know. No, it was what it was.
yeah, that's very cagey. I mean,
Yeah.
they're not going to be around to
No,
listen
but
to it.
it's trying to preempt what somebody thinks. You base your judgments on what you see. And like, as I said before, I'm 17 years of age. I've had my 18th birthday there. I'm still a young lad. To be fair, I've got more and more Worlds, Europeans to come if I continue skating, which unfortunately I didn't. But I suppose I still could have looked at it from that perspective, thinking, well, you know what, he's had to go on the track. You know, he's getting a bit of experience. He can watch this on the road, see, you know, and just learn from it all. You know, which I wasn't opposed to. I mean, when you look in the big picture nowadays, that's fundamentally the way things go with young people. They let them have a go, you know, and if they don't, they just pull them out a little bit, I'll just watch it, and then next season maybe, or a couple of 3 months later, I'll chuck them in again and see what they can do. And I think it was one of them, possibly.
So you come back from New Zealand, and did you come back from New Zealand fired up, or did you come back from how would you describe this? Because you stepped back off the plane.
I wanted to do better, because like I said, I think in my eyes there was more to come in respect of championships and me going to them. So yeah, you just take that as it is. It was a fantastic trip. I really enjoyed it. You know, I enjoyed the ambience of everything and everything that was going on. You know, with the team. Again, they always looked after me, them older lads. You know, there was always a pleasure to be around. Even though when you were skating, it was an individual thing, especially at club level. But when you become national, that you're part of a team, you know, and they always try to encourage you into that team, I felt. Maybe it was just me, they maybe liked me or didn't like me.
So you've gone to, so you're now at you know, world level. You know, you've gone to the Worlds and you've been to the Euros, and you really, Jerry's been overlooked at that particular point. How did that? Was there anything in the?
Jerry was disappointed.
Yeah,
Because I think Jerry felt, like myself, that we got more to come, but just chuck them in. Just chuck these kids in the team and let them experience the whole shebang, you know, and then hopefully later on these kids can achieve for us. But, you know, everybody individually, yeah.
But in the 80s, like I say, the 1980s especially, like Jerry never got a look in.
No, I don't know. Maybe that's because I come on the scene with such an explosion. Because I mean, there was Coxey as well. Yeah. And Coxey was strong, you know, and he was getting results in certain races. So, you know, it could have been overlooked because of that, because there was other people maybe achieving a little bit more and doing a little bit better.
Yeah, because Jerry never won a British title.
No, he didn't, no, unfortunately.
Yeah, and it's interesting, like as juniors, you said, he'd probably just got the edge, I suppose, but you develop at different rates. But so 1981, so we talk about May 1981, because, I mean, you're absolutely on fire. I mean, like, we go to Reading, you win the 500 metre TT by 2 seconds, I'll get it right this time. You win the 5k, you win the 20k, you win the Northern and Midland counties. I mean, like, you know, if we thought that 80 was a breakthrough year and a great year, 81 you must have felt buzzing in 81.
It was special, to be fair. I remember that so well. I was so much quicker than everybody else on that particular circuit.
On Palmer Park?
Yeah. It just suited me down to the ground, that did. I was almost untouchable.
Well,
I remember the 10,000 metres, which I lost to that man, Mick McGeough.
He's trophy.
Fair play to him. But what it was, because I'd already had my victories, and, you know, again, team, I said, Jerry, you know, I said, you sit there, you stay there, you ain't going to my shirt, right? And at the end, I'll still you have it, mate, no worries. That's what your dad, John Mullane, and the Mercia team, that was their ethos, that we all, and I wanted that. So I'm coming down the final, the last straight now. Turns round, Jerry's way down there, and I'm thinking, oh God. At this point, Mickey McGeough comes screaming past me. Mickey McGeough must have beat me by about that much that day. And he must have had a gap of that much on me, and there was probably 50 metres to go. So that disappointed me, because Jerry, I dearly wanted Jerry to nick something, but unfortunately it wasn't to be. But yeah.
I'm going to break there because I need to change the tape.
Okay.
All right. So, but just we'll carry this on.
Okay.
All right. So just had a comfort break and changed the tape. So we were just talking about the 10K where you try to get to Jerry, and it just never panned out for him at that time.
Unfortunately.
But but like I said, 400 metres time trial, 5K, 20K, 10K you'd try to do something with, but you got the Northern Counties, and so winning, especially then in May 81, it must have come quite naturally to you, or you were just so far ahead of the opposition at that time.
I just think that weekend, it had John Downing written all over it. The circuit, my physical status at that time, I was uber fit. Well, I mean...
Yeah, 18 and
my 400 metre time was 2 seconds faster than
yeah, I know.
place.
I mean, that
That just stunned me to death, that did.
Yeah.
And because I was 2 seconds quicker than anybody, I almost felt invincible that weekend. In fact, I pretty much was.
So, what I can't get my head round is the Worlds then are in Belgium.
Yeah, in Louvain.
In August. So,
yeah.
So you got road and track, but so you're only named as reserve on the road.
I know.
What's all that about?
I have no idea, John. I was disappointed, to be fair, because I'd achieved so much in the Nationals. I thought, this has got to be, just chuck me in, see what I can do. Nothing.
I'm gobsmacked by that. You've got like a 3-time British champion, out of like not many more distances, Northern County, and yet you can't, and we're talking, okay, May, you're talking a couple of months on, but you can't make the team for the Worlds in August in Louvain on a big road circuit. What's that all about?
I have no idea, my friend.
Did you question it?
No, not at all.
You just took it on the chin and just said it's the way it is.
Yeah, I'm not much for arguing with people, John. If that's your opinion, that's your opinion. I respect that. Rightly or wrongly, I may think it's wrong. I was bitterly disappointed that I never skated, especially after, like I said, what I'd done in the Nationals. But it was like, oh, okay.
Was anybody vocal about it?
I don't think so.
They just, John.
I can't even remember who the selectors were at the time.
In 81, I've got a feeling that it may have been Pat.
Pat Featon.
Yeah, I got
Possibly.
a feeling it was Pat. I think Pat. Well, certainly there's the team manager. They made selectors, but Pat was definitely the team manager for the track. He must have been there for the road as well. In Louvain, so and then on the track, you didn't skate track.
No.
And Ian Cox is named as reserve for the track. I mean, like, doesn't that just smack of nonsensical?
It did seem a bit bizarre, but it never really bothered me that much, John.
Okay.
It really didn't. I just took it on the chin. So, okay, if that's what you think, that's what you think. Well, next time I'll skate, I'll try and prove you wrong and win whatever I can.
Yeah.
On whatever circuit I'm on.
Well, I have to say that you're quite accommodating, considering that. I mean, I don't think many others would have been as non-vocal, but I suppose you're 18 still, but still. Okay, so we get the Worlds out the way. But you travel because you took some photos, some lovely photos, and you see. And a month on from the Worlds, the Euros. So the Worlds before the Euros in 81.
Yeah.
And the Euros were in Italy.
Yep.
Pineto.
Yep.
Monte Silvano.
Yep.
Did you go?
I did.
You raced?
I can't remember.
So in the team,
Pinato, I'm sure
So-
he did on the track.
so my dad didn't go, and I've got, do you know what? Despite hunting high and low for any record of these championships, I'm struggling to find any data of these championships. The only three people I know were in the British team was Mickey McGeough, Jerry, and Lee McAvoy.
I was.
And I thought it might be you, and I would have been
Yeah.
surprised if it weren't, but I can't find any record of any performances, any placings, any results, or anything.
That's strange.
Yeah, but so I mean, I have got some photos of the track, but not with the British team on, and I've got some real blurred photos of the road in Monte Silvano, which is, you know, but so yeah, so I'm sure that they went from track to road in at the same time. I know they travelled twice, but I got that. But you don't remember
the
that.
one weekend it was on the track, and the next weekend was Montesilvano.
You don't remember racing those.
No, I don't. I remember being there because I've got the program from Pinay, or does that spell out? I can't remember. I've got
Okay.
one of them,
Yeah.
and yeah, I'm sure I've got something, some memorabilia from back there. No results or.
I'd be interested in seeing that at some point.
Yeah, I'll see if I can dig it out. You only asked me for photos.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
You're right.
I will dig them out, John.
Yeah,
I'll
that's
pass
all
them
right.
on to you, mate. No problem.
No,
No problems.
but okay. So there's every chance you went in '81, I think. But how you performed? It's obviously not memorable. So you obviously didn't get a medal,
No.
and I don't think there was anybody else come back. But that's sort of like August, September. But we come to the 6th of September, 1981, the Jack Avery Cup on Somerset Road School in North London, the school playground. Was it? And you win it overall, the Jack Avery Cup. But I have then got absolutely no record of you racing
Ever again.
ever again.
I think I'll quit then.
Why?
Okay. This must have had something to do with Pinato and Montesilvano. Must have. We come back to England, right? And I thought in my head, the only way I'm ever going to win a world title is if we get a bank track in this country, and it's a bit greedy of me, but we needed a banked track in Birmingham where I could access, because what I needed to do, I needed to refine the speed. Yeah, I had the speed, but I need to be able to convert that into track skating. And the only way I was going to do that was by having a bank track where I could control the speed of the banking and everything else, and it just never materialised. And I think it was about 2 or 3 years later, they built wheels. But for me then, I'd been out of it for too long, and I didn't
2
come
years.
back.
You'd been out of it for 2 years.
I
You
know.
were still only 20.
I know I was. But then I'd also got myself a girlfriend, get myself married. Oh, God. What are you doing this day?
So did you marry young? Did you?
Torturing me. 21 I got married,
Mm.
but I met my then wife at 19, and I think I just took a different road altogether. But it was the fact that no bank track. If we'd have had a bank track, if I'd come home from Italy at that time and we'd have had a bank track, I would have carried on.
And
No
yet
doubt about it.
there was road and track events.
I know.
You never thought that you could.
But even the road circuits, you know how difficult it was to try and get a place where you could, train that was big enough for you to, get that power, if you like, and that experience and that speed on them kind of circuits. And they just wasn't available. But it was the out and out speed I needed from a bank track, or I felt I needed, in order for me to achieve what I wanted to. And my achievement was a world title. That was it. That was the bottom line. Everything else was pants. I'd won British Championships. Yeah, I've done that. I don't want to sound conceited here, but I've won them. Europeans, yeah, great stuff. And then knock everything off as I wanted to, but I just felt I needed that facility, and that facility just wasn't available. I mean, he wasn't like your dad, and Mulaney wasn't pushing for these things at the time when I was skating, because they were, but it just all seemed to be very, very slow, too slow. You know, I was on a roll here. I mean, I'm just 18, 19 in Italy then, and I'm on a roll. I'm starting to, I needed to carry that on, and it just never happened for me, I'm afraid. I mean, Jerry often moans at me and he said, "You stopped too soon. We all stopped too soon." And he's right, we probably did. And I do feel responsible for that, to be fair. Because I think when I went, that was when it all started to crumble for the Birmingham team. Again, I don't want to sound conceited, because I'm not, but you know, we was a unit. We all relied on each other. And then when I took myself out, then Jerry and Mark hadn't got me, and I hadn't got them, and it was never going to work. Because I mean, Jerry carried on after that, because in '82, I think, the World Championship was supposed to be in Argentina, but the Falklands War broke out, and they had them in Italy and Finale Amelia, didn't they? And I think Jerry went to those. I don't know if Mark was in the team as
No,
well.
I don't think Jerry did go to.
Did he not?
No, I think he might have gone to the Euros. He didn't actually go to the Worlds, I'm sure.
Oh.
I think there was some new kids on the block around that time in '82.
Arlo and them.
Yeah, Arlo and Quinney and Cobley and you know, and I think Bartlett made the team in '82 as well.
Really?
Yeah. He came back, but it's interesting that so your decision to stop, was it a sudden decision? Did you just go, "I'm not doing it anymore," or did you build? Was it something that was bubbling away and you just thought, you know, built up to it?
I think it was something that was bubbling away, because I was still training. I was still training in the winter of
81.
81, I think, yeah. And then when the Falklands War happened, and I was really looking forward to going to Argentina to skate out there, and because of the Falklands, it just never happened, and I think that just burst my bubble. As well as the fact that there's no track, no facility here, you know. It's unfortunate. It's a shame.
How was it received, that news, by Jerry? Or did you just, did you go one?
Turned up.
Just never turned up. So you just never, so that's what I'm saying. So it weren't a case of, "Guys, I'm quitting."
No.
It was, you just never went again.
Yeah.
And so they just had to deal with it.
Yeah. Because I was training on my own then as well.
Why was that?
I don't know, to be honest. I really don't know. But I was just training on my own. I had this one chap who he used to like to help me. You know, and I used to train down at not Macro. There's a little car park there. I mean, it was just, you know, oblong, a bit narrow. But I used to do it on my own. But it's very difficult on your own, because you got no one to pitch against, you know. And the guy who was trying to help me, he had no background in skating. He was just a regular guy, just a normal fella, you know.
But why would you be doing it on your own and not with the rest of us?
I don't know, John. I don't know. It was almost like we kind of drifted apart, you know. I don't know. Maybe because, I don't know. Maybe I was getting in the team, they wasn't, or I don't know.
Was there any needle in?
I don't think so. But like I said, I sometimes felt bad that I would pick up a victory and, you know, nobody else was. You know.
And it's funny, because I know I've heard my dad talk about the lost generation of skating. You know, so there was a gap. So when I think back, I mean, I can go back as long as you like to like the 30s and the 40s. I can go back to the 40s when you'd got the likes of Bobby Alford, Stan Artig, and then coming along with Dennis Hill and, you know, Don Brown. People names you probably wouldn't even know, you know, all getting world medals, and then, like, you know, Ken Rawlings, Jeff Wright, another world medalist, Graham Stead, then your Leos, then you get your Danny Kellys, and then you're into your 60s, and you got your Bill Sharmans and your John Follies, and then you got the old man and Mickey McGeough and Mullane and Feetham, and then it sort of like ends. It's sort of that. Yeah, there was, like, you got like you said about the Harlows coming through and whatever, but there's a gap between the Fry, Feetham, Mullane, McGough generation and then the next sort of generation there's a gap missing. There's the McGraths, the Downings, the McAvoys. You know, there's a generation missing somewhere.
Yeah, yeah.
And I do think that in a way, the country has struggled to recover from that. Tony Marriott was great, but you know, but he was like a one-man band in terms of he won all the British Championships, and then you got a guy called Sutton Atkins later on. But generationally, as a group of skaters, I think there's a group missing. There's a group of talent missing, a pool of talent. The guys who emerged after that were pretty much singular, not a strong team, whereas before it was always a strong British team, a team that had achieved on the world and European stage, and now we're faced with a big gap. Do you regret stopping?
Looking back on it, yes I do. Yeah, I do. But I felt alone at the time. And for me, this is not an alone thing. This is a team thing. I mean, I watch cycling nowadays, and the team is all about the team. I mean, I watched Tour de France this year. I don't know if you know Tom Pidcock. He's a mountain cyclist, world champion. Only a young lad, but he's gone over to the road. Tom Pidcock's a fantastic mountain cyclist. He was in Ineos Grenadiers, he cycles for.
Yeah.
He's just a domestic. He's not their key man, but he's quite able to be their key man, I believe. But you know, it's that team thing. I just felt so isolated and alone, to be honest. I really did. Maybe because I wasn't driving, you know, so I was reliant upon other people. You know, but actually I did go to the British Championships the year after in '82. That was at Reading.
They were.
I took my girlfriend. I had a little escort van at the time. I managed to get down there, but I didn't skate, obviously. You know, but yeah, I don't know, John.
But I mean, do you miss it when you look back on it?
Yeah, because they were great times. They really were great times. You know, the experience that you had, other countries, skating against other nations, you know, just the whole shebang, everything, it was fantastic.
And yet you can look out your back window and spit on the Birmingham Wheels track.
Well,
and
yeah.
I
can now.
Yeah.
At the time when I needed it, I was still living over where I lived.
Yeah. But okay,
it would have been accessible to me, you know.
But interesting that even if you never took up the skating again, is that you never grace yourself around a track again, really. Either.
I know. You know, I've never skated at Wills. Can you believe that?
Oh, it's gone now.
I know. I'll never skate on it
either.
But I never skated on it. I've been there.
Yeah.
I'm sure I met your dad there the once.
Right.
But I never skated on there.
Why?
I don't know. I don't know, John.
Was that when you say you don't know? Is that you don't know? You don't know why, because you don't know what happened, or you don't know that because you didn't want to, but don't know why you didn't want to? What do you mean you don't know?
I felt that when I actually quit in 1982, or September 81, but to come back into 82, I just felt that there was something, that track was missing for me. I think if I'd have had the track to go to, I may well have carried on. I may well have. It didn't never materialise, unfortunately.
But you never felt the urge to go up to Wales, even just under the cover of darkness, and just go and have a roll around yourself?
No, because I think I felt it was a team effect, a team thing, and I needed that team around me. And I've always been a team player, John. I've never been an individualist. I don't like personal accolades. You know, everything. What I won because of other people. Jerry, your dad, you know, we're just training with those
to a degree. I'd accept that to a degree, but nobody wins a time trial because of other people.
Yeah, but
and 2 seconds faster than the next bloke. Yeah, it's not because the other bloke had only got one leg, is it? You know.
Yeah,
there's got to be a talent in there.
I don't understand what you're saying, but that is achieved through the group training together and the group dynamics that are pushing everything on, you know, because we all drove each other. So when you come to a time trial, well, it's just, you go out there and you blow your brains out, eyeballs out, and you just do your best. But if that's your day, it's your day, but it could be another man's day. You know, but then we'll do the team events where we do, you know, the fives and the distances, where you can work it as a team, and it could become quite interesting now. But I don't know, it all kind of went. Maybe it's because I was winning, John, and other people wasn't, and I felt a way about it. Now, whether I felt a way because of the way they felt, or whether it was because of the way I felt, we'll never know, I don't suppose, because are people honest enough to say, this is what I felt, and yet I was upset with you because you kept winning your bugger? Or no, I don't know, John. I just felt that, you know. I mean, can you imagine the day I came home from Reading in 1981 with 3 British titles and the Northern Counties? I'd got a rack of silverware in the back of the car. It wasn't even my car. I can't remember who I went down with. I don't know if I went down with Pat and Leo or Jerry or what. But it's like, I'm coming home with all this stuff and nobody else has got anything. They're going to be pissed off, aren't they? To be fair. But that's not what I wanted. You know? Like I said, the 10,000, me and Jerry agreed. I said, Jerry, just be there. Because I'm going to be there. Because I can. Because I've got it this weekend. I want it like a carb on it. And while I'm looking around, and it took that long, you know, John. Oh, bloody Mickey McGeough comes steaming up the inside of me, didn't he? Well, outside.
So when did you last get your skates back on? Because you still got your skates.
I take my granddaughter sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where did you take her?
I used to go to Aidenhill, where Jerry's rinks were. I've been to that one in where you're down.
On Watery Lane.
Yes,
Yeah.
I've been down there once on the opening night. And that's about it, mate.
And
Still got my blazer greens.
have you still got them on? Have you?
Yeah, they're only that big.
There we go. So what have you been doing in the intervening years, John?
Sorry?
What have you been doing in the intervening year between giving up in 1981 and today? What have you been doing in a nutshell?
Not much really. Not much.
Retired?
I am now. I mean, I'm 60 now. I'm retired a little bit early, but I've just had enough of work. There was a massive change around at work, and they wanted this and this and this to happen, and I said, you know what?
You're done.
If there's redundancies available, just put me down. So I took my redundancy, got a couple of quid, you know, and then I'd got a pension from when I was working on the council and the housing association. Chopped that in, and this is me
So-
now, John.
Oh, good for you. And
Well, I wouldn't say that. The pension's not great.
yeah, but
However, you know, it's better than the poke in the oil shop.
if you're living the life the way you want to live it, then it's great.
Yeah.
Did you keep in touch with Pat and Leo?
I did, but like I said, I was at work the one day. It's got to be, I don't know, maybe 8 years ago. And I was thinking about them, and I thought, I must go and see these people before it's too late. Because obviously they're getting older. I'm got to be in my 50s at this point. And I thought, I've got to go and see these people.
Did you see their interview?
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay, I'll show you that later.
Oh, okay, or I can just look at it, all right. But no, I didn't. But I love Pat and Leo, they were fantastic.
So anyway, but you were saying, did you go and see him? Did you? Or?
I did. I turned up the one day, and I had a bit of a hat on, and I knocked the door, and Pat came to the door when she could move around, and she wasn't too bad. And she said, hello. I said, hello. I said, it's John Downing. Oh, John Downing. She was shocked. And Leo was asleep in the bed. He was, bless him. But yeah, they was lovely. I liked them.
So yeah,
I tried to go around as much as I possibly could, but unfortunately, Leo had that fall and
Yeah.
he died, and
yeah.
Pat went into the home. I used to go and see Pat in the home because
You
it wasn't
said,
far from where I used to live, but I've still got a property over there,
Okay.
which I frequent every now and then. So I used to go there and then go and see Pat. I used to take a couple of flowers,
Yeah.
you know, a bit of chocolate or whatever.
Yeah, because they did. They passed away within months of each
Yeah,
other.
it
Didn't
was.
it? It was yeah. So do you miss it? Now talking about it, has it got a bit of a? Doesn't it?
I think I should have carried on. But like I said, John, I felt isolated. I felt alone, and I'm not an individual.
But do you miss it now? Think when you look back. I mean, I'll put it another way. So talking about, I mean, it's probably the most you've spoken about it in 40 years.
Yeah.
What's it like to talk about?
Well, I've spoke to Jerry, like I said, and Mark, and we've reminisced, and we have agreed that we all quit too soon. But I feel I was responsible for that because I was the one who bowed out first, and then I think everybody then just
but everybody's an individual. You might be a bit hard on yourself there. People are individuals.
Yeah, but that's the way I felt, John.
Well, what can I say? Multiple British champion, European silver medalist, British skating legend, absolutely 100%. John Downing, thank you very, very much for a really insightful interview. I really enjoyed that. Thank you.
Thank you for your time, John.
You're more than welcome, anytime.